Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of Miners Oasis with Bitcoin Broski, Crypto Chris Walken, and Whale Bearman. We hope you all are having an awesome night. We've just been kind of talking about the. There we go. Cut that off. We've just been talking about the state of the market, and we just want to have a conversation tonight. It's been a lot going on over the past couple of weeks, and a lot of people have had questions about mining. Is it still profitable? What the fuck is going on? So we just want to take an hour or so and commiserate with those of you that are going through some hard times right now, and hopefully bring some light to the night for now. But guys, how are you guys doing?
Doing all right. The market is the market. You got to prepare for these kind of situations, but I'm excited because the cycle is a cycle. And when the cycle is at this point, that's when you put in the hard work and you get ready for, what's to come. I don't care if it's going to take 1 year, 2 years before we see another bull run. I think these levels are important. From a trading perspective, getting in these levels could be really rewarding in the long run. But from the mining side, definitely hurting a lot more. Even though most of the machines hit ROI, it's about paying to have the facility running and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different on the mining side this time.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like it's been painful. Profitability is definitely low to non-existent right now. Like my machines are still on, but I'm kind of split right now. I've got some of my cards pointing at stuff that's profitable just to be that way, and then I have some that I'm mining at just a loss, just based on the fact that difficulty is so damn low on some of these coins now, with people shutting their rigs off, that you're getting more coins. So I mean, when the market does turn around, you're gonna have more to throw at it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been stories coming out. People have talked about, huge percentages of operations are shutting down. I mean, what do you guys make of all of this? Like, you guys are very experienced miners. So as Bitcoin starts to tank or the price starts to drop like this, what are your thoughts initially? How do you guys prep for something like this before a potential crash? And then how do you act afterwards? Like, well, what's the thought process and the steps once you see that profitability may start to dwindle?
So I mean, the biggest thing, just like trading, you gotta make sure you're diversifying your portfolio. You're not overly put in positions, and you have the capital to continue even when the market's not presenting bullish behavior. Obviously, you have margin trading and stuff like that to where you can short even on the downtrend and make money. But from a mining perspective, there's really not much you can do other than having that side capital to continue running, basically at a loss or break even on your environment. Because the biggest thing that I see, and we're really close to it right now, is like, is it worth it to mine right now and kind of pay to keep them running even though they're not making us money? That's something that you have to ask yourself as a miner if you can do, because even though it's not profitable right now, you're getting a lot more coins. The difficulty's down. A lot of the projects that you want to mine aren't getting the same amount of love from all the miners. Seeing so many mining facilities shut down right now. So it comes back to your capital, how long your runway is to run at that cost. And if you are truly long-term in the space, you'll pay to have your miners running so you can have, basically the cheapest coins you can get on the market.
Yeah. So, and there's also a big difference if you look between, your typical home miner and then guys that are on the industrial side, right? Like if you're a home miner, you basically just got to make the decision of, do I want to pay electricity to basically keep making these coins? And on the industrial side, right, you've got the ASICs running, but you also have overhead. You got to pay for maintenance. You got to pay for workers, all that stuff, right? And these guys are really starting to bleed out right now. I think there's something like 600,000 plus ASICs have shut off in the past week, something like that.
Yep.
And talking to a friend of mine, he had to shut his farm down. That was about 50,000 ASICs that were shut down, because I think the break even right now is around 6 cents per kilowatt, and he was at 7, and he couldn't do it anymore. So, and that's the other thing too. And I think a lot of this sell off in the market in the beginning was also miners trying to keep going, basically mining these coins and selling them off and trying to get money to keep them running, hoping that the market would turn around. And you can kind of look at the hash rate chart, like it held steady for a little bit, but now it's down to like 35 or 36 petahash, I think, which is way down from the 60 it was like a month ago. So
I don't know if Connor, maybe you can share your screen. When it comes down to that, looking at the hash rate, can you bring that up and just show kind of what and you guys talk about what your thought process is as you're looking at it on a day in, day out basis, when you notice a drop, how you can maybe predict that a drop's going to occur, and then how you respond to that.
Yeah. So let's see what the best one, I think. So I have the coin dance up right now, but that's not. Okay, let me share this. Okay, so Bitcoin hash rate. Here's a historical chart, right? This year alone, it's kind of aggregated. Looking at the all-time, you can clearly see that we had all the way up until most recently. This kind of looks like distribution, right? Where people kind of stopped adding more and the hash power is definitely going down. And there's a case to be said for hash rate and the price of Bitcoin. But a lot of times I think people overhype that kind of correlation. But for now, this is the first time that we're seeing a significant drop off in hash rate. So for me, I mean, you're not really looking at this like every day and seeing, okay, like this is what's happening. You know, there's not too much that you can look at and know that the hash rate's going to keep on falling. What you want to be looking at is potentially, you know, where the hash rate's pointing, if it went to somewhere else. And this is a good tool you can do. You know, you can actually use this with, you can look at the comparative of Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin as well.
How does that look right now? I mean, what are your guys' theories on that? What are your thoughts on how Bitcoin Cash has impacted or affected what the fuck is going on right now?
So yeah, I was going to touch on that after he was done talking. But so if you look at the chart, you can kind of see that like October, November was a huge spike. And I think a lot of that attributed to Bitmain firing up their S15s and T15s for their burn-in before they shipped them out. So I think that caused a major spike. And then also, plus everybody still had all their S9s on. But I think November has just been a huge compounding of basically the new rigs getting taken off to ship out, the stupid hash war between SV and ABC, that freaking hash rate moving over to those two coins, and then the price drop. It's just compounded and been an entire mess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this whole hash war, and I don't think it's a coincidence. We kind of talked about it before the stream, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this is happening at a time when the market's at its super weak level, you know, where the market cap's dropped anywhere from 80% from its all-time highs. You got to remember the people that are doing this, you know, mainly Craig Wright, Gian, and Roger. They're not dumb. They've been trying to figure out a way to manipulate this market and their benefit, whether it's acquiring actual Bitcoin, BTC, or if they really truly care about making Bitcoin and whatever fucking vision that they have. So this happening, you know, when the market's super weak right now, is a little bit concerning, because from a mining standpoint, you have these miners that, you know, always have been mining Bitcoin, and they are loyal to Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, they need to be able to pay, right? They need to be able to run, and operations need to run. And if Bitcoin's not profitable to mine, but Bitcoin SV or ABC is more profitable to mine, you know, from the politics aside, you know, from a company perspective, there's a pretty high probability that they will be forced to mine one of these coins. And I think that's where, you know, Craig Wright is pretty much hinting at that is happening right now, that these miners, instead of shutting off, they're forced to go mine Bitcoin SV. And it's a little bit concerning to me, because with the market weak, with something that is making money, you know, while everything else is losing value, it becomes an area of interest for gamification of networks.
Yeah, and then my other thought too, and I know it's a little bit tinfoil hat, but basically my thought, right, is like, is it cheaper to have a hash war at $6,300 Bitcoin, or is it cheaper to have a hash war at $4,000 or less Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. So I can fully see manipulation on this. And I even started bringing this up when I was watching the price drop and they're talking about the hash war. Like, if you think about it, just like Wilbur Man was saying, right? If you drop the price of Bitcoin to a point where it's unprofitable for miners to mine, they're going to jump to your coin if your coin is more profitable to mine. So there you go, tinfoil hat off.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it also makes business sense, right? I mean, ultimately, everyone. Well, and we've all been so distracted by all this bullshit that, I mean, I don't think that anyone was actually giving proper due to the people that were trying to pull this off, right? You've got two entities that have found success in their own right, both sides of the Bitcoin Cash aisle. They've been successful in other ventures. So they have the understanding and wherewithal of how a business works. But when they decided to do this, I mean, this was calculated. This wasn't just as much as I would like to think it was just some like hot-headed reactionary thing that Craig Wright did in response to like some disagreement with Roger and Jihan. This has probably been planned for months. And the way that this is being done, I think that Craig Wright might come out looking like a fucking genius if he actually gets his way here. And right now, it looks like it could happen.
Yeah and no. I mean, so like right now, it's currently basically 14% more profitable to mine Bitcoin Cash, 16.30% more profitable to mine SV than Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And, you know, those numbers, I don't know how true these are, but it basically is a point to where it's like, like what we were talking about. Like, are they going to just switch over because they don't want to shut down their operation? They still want to make money. It's just with the amount of Bitcoin that needs to be sold for these miners to run, it just kind of gets to that level of, you know, what's going to happen. And I think there's a case to be made, you know, short term that they could turn over to SV, but then at the end of the day, I think it will be short lived if it does happen the way that we're talking about. Like it won't be indefinite. You still have a lot of hash rate on Bitcoin's protocol for it to run, you know, without everyone going over to SV. Like there's no way, I don't think it's logical that everyone's going to go just straight to SV. Like I just don't think that will ever happen. But what can happen is, you know, it opens up collusion and ability to throw attacks that honestly, yeah, I mean, if you remember we talked about it in the last episode, you know, Operation Red Dragon, I think it might have been called. I think that was a test for this. You know, I'm going to sit on the stance with my buddy Crypto Nick, Crypto Core. He is, you know, on the stance that they've been planning this since the start of the Bitcoin Cash fork. I think it's very, very probable they, you know, spammed the network whenever Bitcoin Cash first forked off of Bitcoin, overloaded Bitcoin's network with spam transactions, made it look like Bitcoin Cash was better to mine, made it look like Bitcoin Cash was easier to transact. And then all of a sudden that ran out of funding. But I don't think that was their game. I think their game was to play that kind of, because when you attack networks, you never just go all out right away. What you do is you want to feel the network out. You want to, you know, kind of spam it see where its defenses are, see where it kind of shifts whenever it does get attacked. Try to feel out how much defensive power they have before you actually implement, you know, your final game. And I think that's what they were doing. I think they were feeling out, you know, how to attack Bitcoin, and this could be the last leg of their attack, where you have all the hash power instead of just going to 2 chains. Now you got fucking 3 protocols taking hash away and it makes it kind of confusing and really, if they start doing what they were doing before, they could do some shitty things to the protocol.
So who wins? I mean, that's the it feels like cryptocurrency's version of Game of Thrones over here.
Yeah, I'm so sick of it. I mean, honestly, like Bitcoin's Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin trash. It's fucking there, and there's nothing we can do about it. I like who wins. I've seen so many forks from Bitcoin happen, and they always lose. But this is the first time that you have like really big public figures on supporting it with their billions of dollars that they supposedly had. Craig Wright has more money than a whole country. But I mean, honestly, like, I don't know who's gonna win. I think it's gonna be a really great movie in the future on what's happening.
Right to Netflix.
Yeah, but this is part of the game, part of being an early adopter of this tech. You're witnessing something that is going to be used for the future stability and figuring out what is the best way to do these upgrades. It's becoming clearly evident that having hard forks is not the way to go. These type of things need to be we need to figure out a different way to do this, because I'm literally getting sick of it, and I think it's a bad look for the space. But that's just me.
Anything to that end, Walken?
I mean, I don't know. I agree. Like, I'm also looking at the fact, right, that you can see the profitability on those two right now. So my thought is that basically, I think the people that have the extremely cheap electricity are just going to stick to Bitcoin. They're not going to move over to one of the two forks. But I think the guys that are maybe sitting around 5-6 cents, they might move over to one of the forks and then just sell the shit for Bitcoin. So that's what I can kind of see. And you can kind of see it. I mean, SV dumped hard today. I mean, it's starting to come back up now, but I think it hit like $150 and it dropped to like 90 something. So
yeah, SV hit like 141.
Yeah.
Was it today when it did that? Oh shit.
Yeah. Bearman, you had some thoughts on where it was going. What's the chart look like?
So here's the thing: when you're charting these, a lot of fundamental aspects come in.
Look at all of that history, though. You've got so much to go on.
So you want to talk about like possible cup and handle? I don't know what the fuck this is, but
it's a V for Satoshi's vision.
When you're trading this, you just got to be really, really careful, and you have to understand that this is super, super manipulated. I traded it up here.
And just to clarify, by manipulated, you mean that there are egomaniacal people fucking with the price.
So, yeah, right, exactly. Okay. And there's no, technically from a chart perspective, like this would have been a rebuy. We're starting to get the Ichimoku working. Let me look on. So here's one thing that I want everyone to understand. Binance is, I'm not sure if they've opened it up, but Binance has like shut down withdrawals and deposits. So their price like fluctuates compared to what the market is. So I'm a little bit scared, trading this just because the main volume is coming from an exchange that you can't get the fucking shit off of it.
Yeah, they're still suspended for both.
Yeah. So like when you go to Bitfinex, I've been charting Bitfinex, and that's what I've been looking at the most. But you can see, on the 4 hour at least, like we're starting to get bullish signals developing from the Ichimoku, and nothing yet is there. On the 1 hour though, if you were to chart this, like it's having a really good bounce off of support. We got this bullish continuation pattern forming. I would have loved to accumulate right here, but everyone was too much of a pussy to buy right here because they, don't really know where this shit's going. But you would have entered on the retest right here. This would have been like an entry target from a signal perspective. Now it's already up like, what is this, like 100% up from there. So it's a little bit concerning if you're going to trade it. I'd be very careful, but it's not looking bad per se. I would be waiting here to see if what this daily close does. But there's a case to be made that this thing does go back up over, like, if this hash war ends and one of them does come out the champion, it's going to have a rally to at least $200 to $300 minimum, and that's minimum. So if you play your cards right, this could be something that makes up a lot of your losses for the year if you were fucking around holding your coins. So there's not too many other coins that are out there with this volume. Like, this is the only reason why I like this play, is because this is a very, very liquid market right now. And as someone that trades, I don't like trading shit coins all the time, especially in a bear market. You can get trapped. This is a shit coin that has enough volume to where you don't need to fucking worry about that. But you do need to worry about manipulation. Keep a tight stop loss on this. But for me, what I'm looking at right now is the 4 hour. I was waiting for it to come back down here and test the support, because we're getting this TK cross happening. And this pattern right here is still pretty bullish as long as we can hold the support. So, my buy signal was right here. Actually, it's hovering on it right now, around 89. If you look at the chart for Bitcoin, you're right at 199. This is where I would want to be picking up some. So we got a little bit more longer to go. But other than that, I mean, I'm just going to be quick flipping this. You make 20% and you take it off the table and you keep on going, just because of this instance right here. Like, a lot of people probably sold right here and then immediately regretted their decision. There's a lot of volume on that sell-off, but this buy volume, it can diminish pretty quickly if the other chain starts winning.
So, what do you think it's going to take for that to happen? I mean, do you think it takes a $1,000 leg up for Bitcoin to start winning that battle again?
It's not about,
have to be more.
It's not really about Bitcoin at this point. Like, it's really just about Bitcoin, the two forks on Bitcoin Cash and how they're defending their hash rates, and what they're gonna, like, what those two guys are gonna fucking say. Because I know this Friday, there's supposed to be a bunch of shit that comes out on both sides. So this Friday is gonna be really interesting to see from just like a fundamental standpoint, what they're gonna come out with to attack the other person. I think they're gonna release some pretty, like, damning evidence on manipulation and shit like that. But I don't know if they will. But like, it's just all a game for them. I really think that they know they fucked up with Bitcoin Cash and they're trying to get more Bitcoin at the end of the day. I really think they're trying to get more Bitcoin.
So you think that all of this is just a ploy to drive the price of Bitcoin Cash, SV, or ABC up so that they can then dump it and have more Bitcoin?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is
I mean, that doesn't necessarily, I mean, that it's math. We all know I'm good at that. So, I mean, aside from Bitcoin mining, what's the deal with GPU mining? Is all mining dead? Are there profitable plays out there, or is this just fuck it, let's take our Black Friday, Cyber Monday winnings and box them until later? What's the deal?
I mean, it's yeah, those are still expensive as hell though. So yeah. I mean, it's definitely rough out here. I mean, for anybody that's on probably, like, I don't know, 13, 14 cents or more on power, you're probably dying right now. I'm basically at break even just because we kind of talked before the show, but like my 8 gig cards are mining profitably, right? They're all on Haven right now, which is actually still profitable, even at like 11 cents, which is what I'm paying at home. But and all my 4 gigs are still on CLO, which has been working pretty well for me, minus the hate. But anyway,
make your money, man.
And yeah, my play with that too is like the difficulty is dropping so much right now on a lot of these coins. Like I'm look at Ethereum Classic. One of my 12 card rigs at its peak was only getting like maybe 0.4, 0.5 a day, if that. And now it's at like almost 0.9 a day. on
Wow.
that same rig for Ethereum Classic. So, and it's like that with a lot of coins. I mean, I think for CLO I was getting like 700 something a day, and now I'm getting close to like 850 a day with a difficulty drop. So
I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Like, if you are long term and you're okay with mining, at break even or a little bit of a loss, then you get the reward of having more coins, right? But for me right now, like my partner and I, we're on the brink of, should we shut off right now? Like, it's a hard conversation because like I don't want to do it and he doesn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, you gotta be running a sound business, and if you're running at a loss for too long and you don't have enough runway, then you're going to run yourself to the ground. And we're definitely long term, so we're going to try to do it for as long as we can. But a prolonged bear market cycle, talking like 1 or 2 years, we're talking like GPUs and stuff like that. It's just not going to be as profitable. And I don't know. We're just looking at FPGAs a lot more serious right now. And we're talking about switching everything over to those. But that would be a huge infrastructure change.
Well, and I mean, there's got to be a large portion of the people that are out there that are just, I mean, they're spec mining. They've been spec mining the whole time. They're just continuing to run their miners because they've never really seen major profits off of their mining to this point anyway. I would think that, most of the people who started mining really anytime in 2018, they're not sitting on, massive mining gains. So not much has changed for them. I mean, they probably weren't mining BTC to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me clarify. Like, if you have a home operation and, crypto's not your only source of income, and you even if you have a decent amount of miners at home and you're spec mining everything, like, you need to take advantage of this market right now. Like, as a spec miner, like, this is your market right now. You are the person who's going to be making the most money, and however long this bear market lasts to where the bull market comes in, because you're getting coins at literally the cheapest rate you can fucking get them at. And then when the market does turn around, you got fat bags. Even though you're not mining for, you're mining at a loss, your goal should be finding projects right now that, like we've been showing, that have a future in the long run. I don't care if it's like a year or 2 years as a spec miner, those bags will probably pay off more than you fucking think. So a lot of people just need to be patient. Spec mining isn't all fun and games. It's a lot of fucking work and a lot of patience. And at the end of the day, if you're mining at home, you got like 3 or 4 rigs, and it's costing you some money to run them right now, obviously, but it's not your only source of income. You probably have a 9-to-5 job. You can pay to run your miners, and I guarantee you, it's not financial advice, but I guarantee you that you're going to be very, very profitable when the next cycle happens, because you got some bags that people fucking dreamed of buying that they couldn't fucking have.
Yeah, and that's why I keep laughing when everybody just keeps claiming that mining's dead, right? And like,
yeah,
I think I've gained 300 people in my Telegram chat in the past week and a half, right? And it's been going crazy this week, mostly because everybody's trying to find spec plays, but also like between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, like they've been buying shit like crazy, like motherboards, freaking power supplies, everything was cheap as hell. And the other thing too is the people that are finally giving up, they're listing their shit on eBay for cheap as hell. Like we were talking before the chat, I bought another RX 588 gig Nitro for $130, and the dude ran it for like 2 months.
Dude, I mean, yeah, that's another thing too. When the bear market hits for crypto like this, miners will capitulate their equipment and they'll sell it. Like, just get this shit out of my sight. I don't want this. I don't look at it anymore. Fucking pissed. I'm stupid for even trying to fucking mine. And then they like just sell it to anyone who'll fucking take it. And dude, that's like the same thing as trading. Like, buy the shit out of this equipment. And even if you don't even mine, like, I don't even care if you fucking mine or not. Like, you could actually just, without mining, you could pick up GPUs and shit like that and flip them, just like trading shit coins. Like, you can hold on to these fucking GPUs, keep them in good condition, And when the market does pick up again, when everyone wants to start mining because they're making so much fucking money, you'll have a stockpile of GPUs and you could sell them for at least double or triple what you fucking got them right now.
Yeah, I actually did that in January during the madness because, you know, I've been mining for a while, and I think I bought most of my RX 480s when they were new and knew they were like $200. And then in January, everything was out of stock, and I sold like 20 of them for $500 a piece.
Yeah.
And I've slowly bought them all back for cheaper than I originally bought them. So that's just another thing to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you guys get anything good on Black Friday or yesterday? Any of the specials other than your GPU for the cheap on eBay walking?
I mean, so Newegg still has like Cyber Week right now, and I know of EGA they have crazy, like I think the 1300 watt gold is like $99 right now. There's what is it, the H81 Asus 6-card motherboards, like $50 on Amazon. Like there's a ton of stuff for really cheap right now. And the thing is it's all the mining equipment. Like these places are trying to just dump it all right now. So they're selling it for super cheap. The 20 GPU one that Asus has, the B250, I saw that for like $74. I think it was on Amazon. So now's the time to load up. I keep trying to tell everyone, if you want to get into mining, now is the time to do it.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, yeah, it sucks like if you like are selling your Bitcoin at these levels, but if you haven't if you don't sell your Bitcoin and you don't ever make things of your investments out of the money that you invested, then you're not doing it right. Like you need to be taking your money and you need to be putting it in other revenue streams, right? Like mining. I think as a crypto trader, mining should be one of your that should be looked at just like trading. Like it's the same thing.
It's a revenue stream.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, right now is perfect. It's the best time for you to get into mining. And there's plenty of people who will take time right now to teach you how to do it. And I know all of us will help people out if they want to learn.
So, you know, guys, as far as the news goes, I mean, there's been obviously a lot of talk surrounding the Bcash bullshit, which we've talked about, and miners shutting off their miners shutting off their ASICs and walking away from mining operations. How are you guys preparing for the next couple of months? I mean, what do you guys think is on the horizon? What's your guys' outlook for the end of 2018 and Q1 of 2019?
My thing is looking at Bitcoin right now. You know, if we start forming a bottom, which we're looking more like we are right now, there could be a case for one more max pain leg down. But if it's a drawn out bear market, which could very possibly happen, just given market structure. You know, when you go up as much as we did, you got to come down, and then accumulation phase typically lasts quite some time. Now, there's a lot of fundamental things that are coming to play, and we've talked about that before. You know, with BACT and the New York Stock Exchange and all these other regulation bodies actually categorizing this shit. I think, you know, there's something to be said where money could flow back into the space pretty quickly if we hold levels like these key levels here. If we break under 2K, you know, we're going to be going in a huge bear market, more so than what we've already witnessed right now.
By huge, you mean prolonged, right?
Prolonged,
so the thought is that I think Nick talked a little bit about this on one of his live streams, is that if something has that catastrophic drop, you usually stay in you know, a bear market for an extended period of time, years. So
yes, if there's no fundamental reason for the drop, and also if there's nothing to entice people to come back into the market, no one's gonna want to fucking touch this shit for a while. And the only people who are gonna want to touch it are, you know, maybe someone who hasn't looked at crypto before, or didn't get burned, or just, you know, maybe is more long term than the retail trader. But like, if it does drop under those key levels, I mean, it's not going to be fun. And I mean, tweeting is the only thing you'll see me doing.
Yeah, that'll cause a lot of pain at 2K. Oof. Especially for the miners. That's oof.
So
Think about it.
So I have a very extreme theory.
Oh,
It is.
great.
It's fucking off the wall. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is something that just I've been thinking about, and when I think it's fucking dangerous, I probably shouldn't do it as often as I do. But I've got a theory that we may see Raven make a push up into the top 10 over the course of the next 12 months if we continue to see Bitcoin performing the way that it is. I think that the longer that these coins, like I know there's been a lot of the memes that are coming out saying that if you would have just bought XRP at the beginning of 2018 or whatever it was in April, you'd right now be up in USD and BTC as far as your portfolio goes. But I think that Raven it's performing very well right now. It's up. I don't know the exact percentage right now, but I think it's up almost
20 earlier.
Yeah,
I'm liking the chart. I like
it
looks good. It doesn't look bad.
Well, and so fundamentally, obviously, I'm a huge fanboy, but fundamentally, I like the fact that they're actually they're putting in work in their with the perceived rise of STOs or how that may play out in 2019. Bruce Fenton made a point to say that an STO is only as good as the underlying chain that it's built on. And with that being said, I think that Raven actually poses a lot more benefits than some of the other projects that are out there. So I see huge potential for this in 2019. The way that the chart's playing out, the way that things are going with Bitcoin Cash, all of those miners, being factored in, I think that this could be Raven's year. This could be their chance to actually make a play and get into the top 10 or top 5.
Well, not just that, but there was also the article that came out about Overstock incorporating blockchain technology, and we all know who that is.
Yeah, and so that's an important thing to discuss because we talked about on yesterday's episode of Crypto Live, we talked a little bit about this, and Overstock, Patrick Byrne is a very intelligent guy. He started Medici Ventures as Overstock's cryptocurrency investment arm, and Bruce Fenton's a part of that. Bruce Fenton is also one of the key developers for Ravencoin. There's definitely a ton of connective tissue between Overstock and Raven and T0, which is going to be a great secondary market for STOs. So there's a lot of tie in there, no doubt about it. It's just going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out, man. Because Overstock's been operating at a massive loss for the past couple of years, and through this year, I think they're down. I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's close to $60 million in losses already this year. So. But I mean, there's still, a lot of companies on paper declare losses every year. You look at a lot of these companies that are major corporations, and they're running at a loss, especially in their first few years, so that they can get things off the ground. And considering the fact that a lot of the investment capital that's coming into Medici is from Overstock, and Medici's been investing in crypto, I think Medici over the past couple of years, they've declared losses in 2017 and 2018 because they've been backing companies that are they're on the come up, right? You've got T0, who's, I think the numbers are 2 million a month they're losing. T0.
Tezzies?
T0. not to be confused with the couple scam that seems to be everyone's favorite project to hold.
Old Tezos.
Tezzies. Yeah. I don't know anything about Tezzies. It sounds like a scam to me.
Okay, well, if you're so bullish, then I guess I can look at it.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. So, where is the volume driving from? Is it mainly Binance? Yeah.
Somebody was giving me shit the other day because I don't post charts on Twitter. And I just I'm not fucking good with charts. You don't want me to post charts, I'll just miss
I already knew that. You're fucking saying that your portfolio is 80-30 or 90-30.
90-30? Yeah. I mean, if Raven keeps performing the way that it is, it may be 90% Raven.
You gotta go 110%, baby, every time.
That's it. 70% of the time it works every time.
Okay, so main volumes on Binance, and what's DigiFinex? What is that?
No idea.
That has to be illegitimate.
It's got 41% of the volume though. That's why it kind of scares me. But I don't know what that website is, so I'm not going to talk shit because I've never really dug into it.
Let's look at it. We got time. Let's see what we got. Yeah, you go ahead, do your Raven thing. I'll look into DigiFinex.
Okay, they gotta have some wash trading going on.
They've got a deal with Minecraft.
Five.
Digi.
Yeah, dude. I don't know about them.
$531 million in daily volume.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
where is this based at? Is this China? Yeah, it's an Asian crypto.
do
Yeah.
they have an OTC desk?
Dude,
Could that
no.
could that volume be
wash trading.
Bitcoin over the counter? Okay.
No, that's wash trading.
All right, fantastic. So
Okay, anyways, minus that though, when I'm looking at this chart, like, okay, so here's a really interesting case for Raven coin, right? So you have like this parabolic advance, and then this is something that like is kind of weird to me because typically when you have a parabolic advance, this leg down here is like normal, but this structure that you see here is kind of different than a lot of other projects. So typically you have distribution happen at tops, and clearly this wasn't a distribution event. This was the way this chart kind of speaks to me, if you will, was that the market itself in crypto stifled its parabolic advance. So the way that this is, the reason why I say that is because this is normal, this sell off here, and then the buyback is normal as well. But then you have, again, just like kind of a slow runoff happening. This is, to me, this says that, it would have probably ran a lot higher if the market didn't do what it did. So just looking at BTC with it, let's just go ahead and do Bitstamp. That's not what I wanted to do. All right. Well, obviously it's not going to be the best. Okay, never mind. The data is not going to populate. But what I wanted to point out was like how the market most likely around here started looking really shitty, and that's the reason why people started taking profits that they made. And what happened probably around these levels here were a lot of people that wanted to get in that didn't get in and thought that it was going to continue to run, and then the market just kind of continued to go down until today. But the interesting aspect of this is that it did hit a huge area of interest, and the volume started coming back. So this volume coming back right here is really, really nice to see. We got some areas of support and resistance highlighted here, but it's just kind of breaking them. It's having healthy legs up. So for me, yeah, this could be something that is overlooked in the market, but I want to see a little bit more volume. Definitely want to see a lot more volume before I make anything in this. But I'm not gonna miss out. I can't join this stream every time and see you guys fucking smiling about your Raven coin, and I'm over here just like
like how I loaded up at 425.
Yeah, exactly. No, this area of interest right here is super important for it. But keep in mind, if Bitcoin is technically in a consolidation right now, so these alts are going to kind of pop off. If this is a bottom, this healthy move up right now signifies to me that if the market does start looking better, Raven's going to pop off faster than a lot of other coins. So it's one of those that you kind of want to get in, before the market corrects. But keep in mind, when the market does look like shit, it does not perform very, very well. It didn't do that bad, but a lot of people, this was the area of interest. We're right back to where a lot of people were buying in this area. So
Yeah, and I mean, for Raven, obviously you've got a lot of good points to the FA, right? It's no ICO, no pre-mine, none of that bullshit. You're not gonna have to worry about the SEC coming in and being a problem. It's actually doing, they're doing what they say they're gonna do. You don't have a central governing body, so there's not going to be any announcements, no hype behind the project, so to speak, except from that, from the community members. But you're right. I mean, it is still moving. Correlated to Bitcoin, there are some alts that have kind of broken away from that, but Raven seems to be a little more sensitive to Bitcoin's movements. And I agree with you. I think that if we continue to range here between 35 and 3,900, that Raven's going to continue to move well. If we dump down, I think it'll be a good opportunity to add more between somewhere between 300 and 400 sats. But for me, it's a long-term bag, right? So I'm not really looking to sell any Raven. Whatever I'm buying now, I'll take some off the top as we get between 700 and 1,000 sats. But I'll always have a bag that's just there, because I do believe that this will be one of my best performing assets over the course of the next 2 years. So I don't want to toot Raven's horn too much, but it's nice to have some bright spot in the day when it comes to looking at your portfolio and seeing everything bleed.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah, I just don't get attached to your bags. I've seen it. I hear it in your voice how much you love Raven. Just know she'll probably fuck you sometime. And you'll be like, why did I do this?
So the one lesson that I've learned there, because it's happened to me before, right, is that once I cross a certain threshold, the entire bag has to be a profit bag, or it's not staying at all. So if I don't get to a point where I'm able to just hold a bag that is just pure profit and I've already taken off my initial cost, I tend to liquidate the entire bag. Like Wax is one that is not a proof of work coin, but just as an example, right now it's sitting in a range where it's profitable for me. I'm up like 60% on my initial buy. But I probably won't hold the bag long term, just because in these market conditions, it's already got a $60-70 million market cap, which now is really high. In December, that was nothing. But now, I mean, that puts it pretty high up there, brings it into the top 100. So it loses some of the desirable features that I purchased it for. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I try not to marry anything. And if I do marry, it's purely profit, and I get to just write it out for free.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that goes without saying. I think, right now in the bear market, like, it's one of those things where you just, if something's making you money, like, yeah, obviously it's great, but try to capitalize on the compounding gains, because I see a lot of people do it, where they have some winners in the bear market and they don't extract them. They're like, okay, like this is doing so well in the bear market, like I'm just gonna keep on holding this, and then when the bull market comes, like obviously it's gonna do really well. Well, while you're in the bear market, you don't know how long it's gonna last. So your goal should be securing the gains that you get from these coins in the bear market, because they're rare. And then just if you really like the coin and you believe it's going to do really well long term, just start selling it and buying it back, because in the bear market, it's going to go, if it's going up, it's huge probability that it's going to come back down. I mean, that was evident. I mean, even with Raven, like that happened. Like we were talking about the show when it was like over here, right? I think. And it came back to exactly to where we said that it looked like a good buy. So,
and you still didn't buy it.
Yeah, because I knew this was going to happen. I mean, we're right back. We're right back to where we were. I didn't miss out on anything. I can still buy it right now. I just missed out. I missed out on compounding, and that's what I'm talking about, right? Like you could have sold this probably more realistically if you bought it around here. You probably would have sold right around here. So an 84% gain. You would have made up, if you were all in on this, you would have made up the whole year, and there would have been no bear market for you. And you could be like, fuck you guys. Like, there's no bear market. I got Raven. Caca.
Yeah, I like I said, what was it, like episode 2 or something when it was pumping? I sold 20% at 1,000 sats. And then, yeah, the whole market crashed, but I still had Bitcoin and I bought back in at 425. So
exactly.
I got more Raven
That's
than
what
I had
I'm fucking
initially.
talking about. That's why I hang out with you.
And listen, listen. This is not going to turn into a BC show, so I'm going to just go ahead and say that right off the bat. But I am excited for some of the tools that they have coming. Right, like a play like Raven is good because you'll be able to have that trailing stop in place. I'm not saying that they're going to list Raven. Hopefully they do. I don't know, but
Bixie needs to reach out to me because I got caught in the crossfire and they need to call me and be like, "Hey, can I pay you?" So
to be honest though, dude, like they never. I've never been paid by them.
Yeah, I didn't get paid either. I won't like naming it.
And not
label the picture, bro.
Like not in a shady way. For me, it's just like I guess I'm just idealistic like that. Like I see it as a tool, right? And in business, like I'd rather have more tools than less tools.
Well, here's what I see. Okay, like no offense to Bixie, whatever. The way that they operated it, like if they would have came into me like, hey, Wilberman, how should I market this? Because they had a good marketing strategy, but the problem is like in crypto, once someone gets word of like reference links and shit like that and competitions, like if it's not public enough, like if they don't shill their shills, like then you have these problems that happen. And I don't even give a shit. Like I think they're gonna have a great exchange, and I like all the services that they are putting out, and I think they really have the best intentions in mind. But you got to remember, like the crypto community is savage as fuck, and if anything kind of looks weird, like they're gonna eat you up, and they definitely ate that fucking shill link shit up. It's like so dumb in my opinion, because I've seen a lot of people that were calling that shit out. They show their like BitMEX refs. They show like a bunch of different reference links. Like I don't care if you show a ref link, but like what I do care about for like a company perspective, like they did try to make it known that I think they wrote like a Medium article about it. I remember reading it, but like at the end of the day, you just gotta, if you're gonna have shills, you have to shill your shills. That's what I say. Like just you gotta shill that you're shilling it. Like I mean that at the end of the day, that's what the problem was, but I'm excited for their exchange. Like if they have everything that they say they're gonna have, and they get enough volume on there, like you're gonna see me on that exchange, because I think they're hearing the problems of the community, trailing stop losses and all that bullshit. I think if they do it right, they execute it right, they get enough volume on there, that's going to be a huge exchange, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of one of the things that, and you mentioned it, they've been really receptive. In Chicago, getting to hang out with Artok, the CEO, and a couple of the other people.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, man, and I mean, like they're just people. You know what I mean? And
guys.
you'll have conversations with some people that say, oh, they're inexperienced. They've never built an exchange before, or they don't have any applicable knowledge in something like this. But in reality, like who the fuck's built a cryptocurrency exchange before? Like CZ hadn't built a cryptocurrency exchange before Binance, at least not to my knowledge. Maybe he worked for one, but I don't think he built anything to that level. So I mean, whatever. I don't really fucking care. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't get a check from Beaksy. But for me,
is it Beaksy?
Yeah, it's Beaksy.
Yeah, it's Beaksy.
Okay, and like, look, I got dragged into it too. I got called an idiot on Twitter, which made me feel good. It's like it validated my existence. Now But yeah, who the fuck cares? Like whatever.
No, dude,
I'm excited to see what happens.
I posted. I said I don't give a shit about what happened. Like I don't care. All I care about is that they make a badass exchange and it fucking does everything that they said it's gonna do. Because I'm excited if that's the case. And I have been excited about their exchange because it's needed in this market. So.
Yeah, and I like to see good people win, man. I mean, like they're good people. I'd like to see them find success. Hopefully they're able to make a long, prosperous career in the space. I'd rather have more good people than more dirtbags.
Right. Yeah. There is a lot of exchange building going on. I've seen a lot of them come out. I know DEXs are kind of getting shit on right now. Like that's super confusing for me. But at the end of the day, like KYC and AML, as much as I think it's a fucking scam, I think that it's obviously needed for some aspects, but DEXs will definitely start coming up after some big exchanges start having some issues with regulatory bodies. So we just need a Satoshi DEX. You know?
Which you're going to hear it here first. That's going to happen in Q2 and Q3 of 2019. Right. Let retail tax season die down. Let the government have a little bit more time to process everything. I think you're going to see compliance come down in Q1, Q2, or at least new steps to help regulate these companies, because there's too much money and too many entities to argue, and too many Americans are now paying attention. Like before, it was pretty spread out, but now, I mean, like I got people who like they've never invested in anything in their life, and they're asking about Bitcoin. Right? It's getting to a point where everyone knows about it, and like America is the land of get rich quick. I don't care what anybody says, you know? So you're going to have people that are going to get burnt following exchanges and following scams, and that's going to bring in more regulation. So I think that, you know, Q1, Q2, we're going to see more steps by regulators to come in and protect consumers, because that's ultimately what they are trying to do. But that's going to be followed by cease and desist orders and you know, things that are going to prohibit and restrict how some of these companies do business. So
Binance is a perfect case study in my opinion. Like it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because I mean they're by far the biggest exchange with volume, and as far as KYC goes, you know, right now you only need an email address to move. You can use their platform as much as you want. You can load their platform up with millions and trillions of dollars if you have it, but you can only pull 2 Bitcoins off. So like, I don't know the legality loopholes there, but I think it was coming from the fact that they don't have any fiat on ramp, and the 2 BTC limit is to kind of like, okay, it's not considered a currency yet, but that's clearly going to happen. Like BTC is going to be a currency in the future, and it's going to be regulated as such.
Oh, for sure.
So once that happens, then, you know, these exchanges that don't have KYC and stuff like that, just pulling out 2 BTC, like they're going to get slapped with fines. There's no doubt in my mind that, you know, Binance has a war chest for all these legal battles that they're about to have. And I'm sure they have one of the best legal teams in the world. And part of the reason why they moved where they moved was for that, even if they moved to the #1 capital for money laundering. Like,
well, and so that's like, all right. So money laundering is one thing, but I think that oftentimes places that have more liberal banking laws get a bad rap because they have that. It's like saying that cryptocurrency is only used for funding terrorism and illegal activities, right? So it's one thing that happens, and it gets like, it's in the basket, but it happens to be the predominant thing that people see. And with Malta and, you know, Caribbean islands that allow for this kind of thing, the shady business often overtakes the legitimate business that goes on there. When in reality, if you think like a capitalist, you're always going to do what you got to do to make money. And in my viewpoint, like if a government was telling me I couldn't operate a business profitably, although I have the customers and the client base and the ability to do so, well, fuck you, I'm going somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like if it's the only thing that you can do, what can you do but that? And you know, I think that this may cause a bigger geopolitical thing than we're giving it credit for. I think that crypto could actually be the catalyst to cause governments to kind of pull away from, you know, the United States' ability to kind of regulate all markets in all corners of the world, you know? So I don't know. I think that there's going to be some big shit that comes to play over the next 5 years, and I think crypto might be a big part of it. But yeah, Malta, from what I hear, is great, and you know,
I'm going to be visiting there pretty soon. So
nice, dude. That should be fun. When are you going? Well, if you're going summer or winter, summer's the time. Summer's the time.
No, but yeah, I think, you know, the current market, it's just the fucking crypto market. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to see a lot of people fall off, and a lot of people hate on crypto again. And I get really excited about that, because you don't get this kind of opportunity too often. And a lot of people say, okay, this shit's never going to go to their all-time highs again. And it's, you know, super overvalued. But I always looked at Bitcoin as the only asset that's going to be out there that you can hedge against, fiat and pretty much like the stock market. But I do see the stance of, if we go into a global recession or a global financial crisis, it's not going to be right away. Everyone's like, I'm going to throw all my money into cryptocurrencies, the most volatile and speculative asset. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, I hate that narrative. But what will happen if you see, hyperinflation and stuff like that happen to fiat currencies, then eventually it will come back to Bitcoin. We've already had 2 case studies with Greece and Venezuela, where they put all their money into Bitcoin because it was holding more value than their fiat currency.
Right.
So in my opinion, if a global economic crisis happens, initially the cryptocurrency market will hit harder than the traditional stock market, because when a global economic crisis happens, people go to what they know is going to be valued, right? They're going to pull their money out and they're going to put it into cash. And if you're in speculative assets such as cryptocurrencies, that's your first thing that you're going to get off your portfolio, because that's something that is unknown, and people were putting their extra money in it because they saw the future. It could do this. But when the economy's crashing, they're not going to be putting their money in something that's a speculation. They want their money in something that's hard, that's tested, right? And Bitcoin's use case is when a global economic crisis happens, it's going to be a store of value when the fiat currency has trouble. And that's when you're going to see Bitcoin truly shine. I mean, we saw premiums on Bitcoin in Venezuela and in Greece. People were lining up at Bitcoin ATMs, waiting days upon days to use an ATM. So I truly think that's what's going to happen. And I mean, the market right now is not looking that good. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some kind of war happen next year to make sure that the economy stays afloat. But we're on an edge right now, and I think it will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, and I think it's also important for people to understand, when it comes to this kind of thing, it's just everything is interconnected, right? So one market will connect to another, but I don't think it's in the way that you think. Like you said, I mean, people aren't going to jump from their current assets that are down to something that's highly speculative, and they're going to liquidate whatever they have that's in a highly speculative market if they're looking to protect what they've got. Because, for most people, their number one rule of investing is to preserve capital, right? You're looking to park your capital in a safe place so that years down the road, you can take it out with gains to then carry you through. In reality, most people don't manage their own 401k. You know what I mean? So if the market tanks, you don't have the ability. Like, most people can't just redirect their funds, So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the traditional market today had a pretty good rebound.
It's been getting creamed over the past couple of, it's coming towards that tipping point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there anything else we want to talk about? I know we're hitting 1 hour right now. So.
We are coming up on it. I don't know, guys. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss?
Daily close on Bitcoin looks good. Just closed about 3 minutes ago. And yeah, we have a green, not really the best candle, but we do have a decent close on Bitcoin right now. Kind of a consolidation period for the first time in a while. So we'll see where this next daily goes. If we break over 4,200, we're going to be definitely looking for at least a relief rally back up to 6,200 is where I would expect it to go to.
Okay. All right, I see the comments are starting to roll in. It looks like people are starting to join towards the end, but everyone can catch the replay. But yeah, Chris, if there's anything you wanted to add, I'll go ahead and sign off otherwise.
I'll just say real quick, just another plug. I know we're going to touch on it a little bit, but just keep mining the blood. Try to keep your head above water. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before the show, but like, you got to think all these miners being shut off, there's going to be less coins available. And a lot of these coins we talked about on the show are going to have big Q1s. So, like I said, if you, hey, there's Bella. But
hey.
but yeah, like I said, if you end up having one of these bags, like we talked about Tube and Haven, which Haven's catching a lot of hate, whatever. But I mean, these coins are going to have big Q1s, and if you hold them, I mean, it's going to be good. Not financial advice, but
I'm really liking Luis in our chat. Slit your throat open live.
Yeah, that was a nice comment.
That's it. Well, it's
we're getting close to the bottom, guys. Bottom in.
Somebody told me a long time ago that hurting people hurt people. So, Louise, go get a fucking hug. We wish that on you. I hope you have a great night. Those of you who have tuned in, thank you very much. We've enjoyed it. We enjoy hanging out and talking. For those of you who want to eavesdrop on our conversation, we appreciate that. We will be back next week, Tuesday or Thursday maybe, or another day. We don't know. We'll post it. But Miners Oasis will be back next week, one day at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Later.